stories we will share. Tasty bites and highlights together everywhere. Sports Bites, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride. Fried chicken, slam dunks and spicy fries. Catch the play-by-play man on a plate of good times. Join us for the flavor, join us for the game. Every bite and replay, memories will fade. Sports Bites, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride. Football and fried chicken, slam dunks and spicy fries. Catch the play-by-play man on the plate of good times. Join us for the flavor, join us for the game. Every bite and replay, memories will fray. Sports Bites, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride.
Welcome to Sports Bites. Welcome to Sports Bites with your host, Chris Joseph. Are you a sports fanatic who loves the thrill of the game and the delicious food that accompanies it?
And then they had chicken and fingers, exotic chicken fingers.
Join us as we dive into the world of sports and the delectable bites that make the experience even better. Whether you're in the stadium, tailgating, or watching from the comfort of your home, get ready to satisfy your sports cravings with Chris Joseph on Sports Bites. Let's dig in.
Good Monday evening, everybody. It is a Reaction Monday and a lot to go over in this show. My name is Chris Joseph. I'm your host of the Sports Bites podcast. Thank you for joining me on a Reaction Monday. Before we start, if you're in here, go ahead, smash that like button, smash that follow button, subscribe. Let you know I've got a Patreon coming real soon. I'll explain that a little bit later. But if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, anywhere you see down here, here's the social medias. Go follow. I put a lot of content out. I've got interviews that I got coming up with UAB coaches, players, trying to get Brent Venable's son, who's on staff at UAB, get him to come on. Got some guys coming on throughout the week. I'm going to try to put together and get some thoughts on, some big games coming up in this weekend. But of course, this is Reaction Monday, so we're going to talk about what happened this last weekend. And there's a lot of things that I want to talk about. So buckle up, enjoy yourself. Grab you a little bourbon if you have some. And let's talk some ball. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we can get into. First, before we get into talking football, well, I say that. I've never seen a fan base turn on a team so quick, or the country. From last year, everybody wanting Colorado to win at the beginning of the year to where now everybody hopes they lose. What's up, Cody? Happy that his Bayou Bengals get away. That's right, Sunbelt's and again, it is bourbon time, and this is the good stuff. This is the Stag Junior. Make sure I got some of the good stuff on there. He was at Sunbelt Syndicate was at an interesting game. East Carolina, whoo, man. East Carolina, App State, a little bit of smoke at the end. Terry Walker, UCLA needs a quarterback, that is all. The guy who looks like he cosplays. That is an outstanding comment, Terry. Thank you. I've got a clip to show about UCLA because, and before we really dive into this, let me start by this. I used to officiate. Now, I didn't get up high into Division I football or anything like that, but bourbon sounds good. Bourbon always sounds good. Very nice. Smooth Scott. Yeah, see, my wife likes the Dalmore 15, Terry, and usually that's what I get her for Christmas is a bottle of like the Dalmore 15. So that's what I usually get her. We'll share. She really likes, the bourbon. Penelope is a really good brand right now that we like. Their whole line has just been very, very good. See, you brought the swagger and were exposed as frauds. Now everyone is against them. QB is too cocky. I've got a clip I'm going to show you, Cody, because there's a point I'm going to make about this. But you might not like this conversation, Cody. So I used to officiate, right? And I know Josh Pate already went on like a rant about officiating in college football today. It's sad. It's sad because I can't defend it anymore. Now, I used to defend officials because, we always had the saying, stripe up or shut up. If you've never been on the field, you've never put it on, you don't know what you're talking about. There you go, Terry. He's saying, what's up, Cody? But what's going on now in college football, and even the NFL to an extent, but what's going on in college football is ridiculous. Now, I'm going to play some clips that I put together of some calls on roughing the passer. Look at this. Boom. Face forward, not the crown of helmet. Look at this in the Oregon State game. All right. If you're watching this, let's look here. The Oregon State quarterback is throwing in his throwing motion. The Oregon defender is just coming in a straight line. The Oregon State quarterback arm strikes the Oregon player in the helmet, roughing the passer. He doesn't follow him to the ground, nothing like that. Roughing the passer. Terrible call. This call in the Georgia-Kentucky game, if you're watching on YouTube, if you watch that night, Walker, and again, I'm not a fan in any. Well, you're right. But again, this driving to the ground, let's go back and look at that hit. I mean, what is he supposed to do? He hits him. Is he supposed to let go? I mean, what are you supposed to do as a defensive player? And that gets into this Walker hit in the Kentucky game. This should be on a highlight reel of how you should tackle. When you hear everybody talk about this is how you should tackle, watch. Face across, because he took him to the ground. It's absurd. It's absurd. Right there. I mean, faces across, nothing with the crown of the helmet, doesn't go up to the head or neck that they're talking about. And because he takes him to the ground. I don't know what you're supposed to do. Now, this in the Florida A&M game was called targeting. Now, I mind you, as you watch this video, the young man from Florida does lower his head. His helmet hits him in the ass. That's targeting. Watch this. Bam. Hits him right there. That's targeting. I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would say a helmet to the ass is targeting. But that's what you got right there. The game, watch this. Watch this. This play right here in the Georgia-Kentucky game. Watch 24 right here, right? Watch 24. I agree, man. I like I said, I know guys that officiate, and I can't defend it anymore. I can't. This call right here, watch this play develop. Rips his helmet off. But guess what? Face mask on Kentucky. He had, I think, 3 players. Yeah, there was there was a lot of smoke in that game. Terry says the Indiana guy didn't finish the job, so I'm mad. This right here, and Cody, if you're watching, I apologize. I know Saturday was probably emotional for you. You're an LSU fan. You're watching the game. South Carolina jumps out to a big 17-0 lead. Nussmeier, they fight, they come back. This, for all intents and purposes, should have shut the game down. I think it was 33-29 at that point, and Nussmeier throws an interception. Eamon does a great job flashing back, like he's showing blitz, and he flashes back, gets right in the line of sight, and you'll see the play. Now, you kind of see up front, they'll show Eamon cruising. Watch this. No, that is not right. He didn't hit him with the helmet. He didn't hit him in the head. He took his 2 hands and pushed him. Pushed him. I can't, I mean, now a Nussmeier laying out like he's been, hit with buckshot. And you see, he's sitting there like, what? Are you kidding me? Now, again, let's watch this play from the Indiana UCLA game develop. Little dip, rip. Bam. He said, hopefully Cody has to get a new profile pic soon. See, and I got him at the end of the year, Terry. Oklahoma going to Death Valley to finish the year, which who knows how those teams are going to be, when we get that point. And I'm going to get into it Friday on my Friday football night, talking about that Oklahoma-Tennessee game. But the only call that I agree with, now I'll say this, the only call that I agree with because of the way the rule is written was the horse collar tackle in the LSU game. Now, the rule had been changed this year to where, in the tackle box, it didn't matter. It was still horse collar. That was changed. I can't say that out loud, but Terry, I hear you. He put his helmet right on his cheeks. But there was 2 pick sixes taken off the board. They called a pass interference on a South Carolina player when he was running a route. And you watch the video, you couldn't find anybody that committed this foul. So I don't know. And I used to tell people when NFL officiating was bad, and I have met with Walt Anderson. I used to, when I was doing radio, I had Ed Hockley come on my show, talk about rules and stuff. And what I think, and I think it's starting to trickle down into college football now, is they are becoming so reliant on replay that they're like, fuck it. If I get the call wrong, we'll get it right on replay. But then even that doesn't work because you can go back to Oklahoma, Oregon on the onside kick where Oklahoma ends up with the ball. Oregon touched it first. Oklahoma ends up with the ball, and they still give the ball to the Ducks. I mean, it's you can't. And I'm not one of these. I never bought into conspiracies and the referees want you to. But I can't defend some of this decision making. Now, Josh Pate on his show was talking a little bit. Was it overreactionary because of what happened to Tua Tagovailoa? Maybe. Matt, so yeah, you know what, Matt? I think you're 100% right. And again, there's a call in that game. There's a call in that game to where, like, here's a call right here. This was called a face mask on Kentucky as the Georgia player rips his helmet off and throws it to the ground. That's now they also had a call, Matt, in that game. If you remember the throw to the outside where the Georgia receiver caught it, then the debate on if he had it or not, pops it up in the air. Kentucky takes it, houses it. I mean, I didn't think there was enough to overturn it. You know, they always talk about they have to have concrete proof to overturn it. And when you watch the video, they didn't. They didn't. But I'll tell you this, for Georgia, for all the talk about how good Georgia is supposed to be, that offensive line was supposed to be the best in the country. It doesn't look like it. Carson Beck, I don't see the explosiveness that they've had before. They can run the football. ETN is good. The defense is good. It's not great like I thought. I mean, the secondary is suspect. If Starks isn't, on a guy, that's why I moved Texas up to number 1. And I tell you why I moved Texas up to number 1. They lost their Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback and brought in Arch Manning. And again, I'm one of the people that in this job, in this industry, people are going to have takes. People are going to have and say things, right? I was one that didn't buy into Arch Manning at all. At all. But I can admit when I'm wrong. That young man can play some damn football. And when Texas loses their quarterback, and let me say this too, when Quinn Ewers comes back, there is no quarterback controversy. There's no Wally Pippen, Quinn. It wasn't like Ewers was a Heisman frontrunner after the Michigan game. He's not losing. There's no quarterback controversy. It's UTSA, yes. But the fact that the offense didn't miss a beat with Texas. Didn't miss a beat, right? And he showed some speed. Now, I don't know if it's true. I saw a graphic somebody put out that Quinn Ewers hit over 20 miles an hour on that 60-yard touchdown run. I want to see some more on that before I really believe it. But that's why I put Texas. And as an Oklahoma person, it pains me to do it. But in my poll with the FWAA, I'm one of the Super 16 voters. I put Texas as number 1. Put them at number 1. They did it when their star quarterback went down. They just stepped right up and kept on rolling. Now, again, they have another week to kind of prepare. They've got ULM. It's not even going to be close. There were some Texas fans that I know that were concerned about the spread in that game, whether or not they were going to be able to cover the spread of 35, a letdown after Michigan. No problem. Texas looks really good. Texas, that Georgia's got Texas later on the year. I mean, Georgia's schedule. You talk about with the addition of Texas, Oklahoma into the SEC. I would. Arch picked up here. Right. Look, I put them at number 1. I put, yeah. And Georgia did drop, Terry. I think in the AP they dropped to 2. I think Texas is the number 1 team right now. And again, I hate it. Kentucky needs to learn how to hit the end zone. Kentucky's defense needs better than what it played against South Carolina. Kentucky was looking ahead of the Georgia game. Kentucky should go 7-5. That's a valid point. People talk about that South Carolina game, and I'll say this about South Carolina, a lot better than I thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year. Defense plays really well. Rocket can freaking go. Now they got to hope Sellers is okay. I was kind of upset that he lost his prescription goggles during the game. He went with contacts this time, but I don't know. Going to take a look at a couple of the games that I had. I picked 6 games to kind of focus on. And the first game, oh, goodness. Is it getting hot in Tallahassee? I don't know where it's hotter, Tallahassee or Gainesville, right? Memphis. How do you leave a school, Mike Norvell, and go to a better school for football and then lose to the school that you came from? Seth Hennigan played well. Early on, it really looked like the Florida State defensive line was going to be too much for Memphis. But again, Memphis made plays. Seth Hennigan made plays. And kudos to Memphis. I put them in the top 25. I think they're going to be one of those teams in the American that have a chance to make it. And there's some really good group of 5 teams. And guys, if you like group of 5 talk, the guys who do a really good job of covering the group of 5 is the Sun Belt Syndicate. You see them up here making comments and stuff. Just, yeah. Yeah. I think if you like group of 5, you need to go check out Sun Belt Syndicate. Those guys do a fantastic job. They got interviews with players from across the Sun Belt, G5s. I mean, it's really good. Like I said, that's why the college football dogs, the dog TV, we've got you covered, right? If you like college football, this is where you need to come. And you can follow Sports Bites. Look, there's my socials on X at Sports Bites Pod 1. Hit that like button for me, guys, please. Facebook at Sports Bites Podcast. TikTok. I put content out all the time on TikTok. YouTube. Follow. Subscribe. Let's get into it. Memphis goes in, wins. Florida State. Whew, looking bad. I wonder. Did you hear about the new Pac-12 alignment? Yeah, I did. I'll get into that. And, there's another news that came out about Air Force possibly coming to the American. Right. Matt says, I'm not trying to argue, but until Georgia loses, they are the odds-on favorite to three-peat. And you're probably correct, the mass majority. But when I do a vote, I vote for what I'm seeing on the field, right? And right now, what I've seen, Texas has the best win. Texas has played the best as a complete team. Tennessee has played exceptionally well. Now, they've played against lesser opponents. They have a big challenge this week coming to Norman, Oklahoma, which it's the first time since 1998 that a ranked Oklahoma team has been an Oklahoma team has been a home dog by a touchdown or more. Look, Georgia always has one of those games every year, right? I think it was Missouri last year. Georgia always has those games that they're going to stumble a little bit. But what I've seen from Carson Beck is not what I saw from Stetson Bennett. And again, different team. I don't see the explosiveness from Georgia as a lot of people thought. The defense still gives up some plays, right? But I took Memphis State plus the 6 in this. That was a big win for me. A team that, I talk a little bit about. Tennessee looks like you're playing PlayStation games. Matt, you're right. Man, I had the opportunity to cover Josh when he was, a coach at Oklahoma. So I know there's a lot of emotion going into this game this weekend. But knowing Josh, what Josh wants to do, what Josh likes to do, is he wants to run the rock. He's going to pin and pull. He's going to, counter with his tight ends, double sets. He wants to get the ground game going. And if he gets that ground game going, and it's hard. And you want to talk about fast? I said it before. You watch some of their games, and there's times when they make a completion, the line, they're running up there, they're snapping the ball before the chain crew can even get there. It's man, they're fast. Sun Belts. Georgia's always going to be speeding around that field, though. I see what you did there. It's another thing. You got to get that addressed, man. Got to get that addressed. Missouri and Boston College. Missouri wins 27-21. Again, another bad official call in that game. There was a clear fumble. Didn't go to review. Boston College recovered it, but nothing's done. I'm still not sold on Eli Drinkwitz. The guy's kind of a goober to me. But again, Missouri, Brady Cook, you've got some offensive parts, right? Brady Cook, good. Luther Burden III, good. Theo East Jr., good. I don't know. I was just watching Cole Kubelik and Roman Harper do the, read and react. They were talking about they like to run a lot of stretch plays, which is smart. I mean, get your guys to the boundary and let them make plays. But Missouri struggled. Missouri struggled in that one. The Apple Cup. How about the Apple Cup? It's weird that it was played in the middle of the season, right? Or the beginning of the season. This is usually end of the year game. Washington State. Washington was favored by 4.5. And again, I'm not sold on Will Rogers. He's somebody I'm like, ugh, that's who you got as your quarterback. Not good. Not good. Washington, I think, is in for a rude awakening. Now, Will Rogers threw for 314 in the game, right? He threw for 314, didn't do bad. But if you look at the team stats, box score, you don't want to be a box score, but third down efficiency, Washington State was better. They had one turnover, had the ball less, but they made plays when it counted. Washington was able to get out of there, or Washington State was able to get out of there with a victory. Well, false alarm on that Vanderbilt fire. Ooh, hey, be sure you tell Vandy Chris that on the boot, which, by the way, the Golden Boot comes up next at 8:30 here on Dog TV. So check out Cody, Chris, George. They're going to talk a lot about what's going on. Georgia's sweating a little bit this weekend with Arkansas being down to UAB 17 at one point. They fought back. Matt says Kentucky's defense is legit. Kentucky must beat Ohio and Vanderbilt next week. Right. They have to. They have to. I think you're right. Terry, I will. And there's George. What's up, George? Hope you're doing all right, buddy. Trying to get people to come to the Golden Boot here at 8 o'clock, 8:30, excuse me. I know you guys will have a lot to talk about. Vandy Chris won't like seeing that go GSU Panthers. Have you seen SEC shorts? They do a great job. They shut it down, Tennessee versus Oklahoma, SEC, Big 8. TriStar, you're right. It's a big matchup. I'm excited. Game day's there, and I was at the last big game day. So they had a game day during COVID when Oklahoma State came to Norman. Nobody could be there. The last time there was an active game day was the Manti Te'o year. Notre Dame came to Norman, played Landry Jones and those guys, and they got out of Norman with a victory. But game day is always fun. And so I'll put this in the chat. With what's going on now, I mean, like Michigan, Texas, you had dueling college football shows. ESPN Game Day. You also had Big Noon Kickoff. What is your favorite? Big Noon Kickoff or College Game Day? And I think old man Corso needs to take a step down real soon. He's looking old, man. He's looking old. This one right here. And you see Manti Te'o kiss the air in the stands after that Oklahoma game. But I think if I can remember correctly, that's when it started to percolate that he was going through some troubles, like with family members and stuff like that. Vandy Chris and his swagger as a Vanderbilt fan. The Vanderbilt players are guaranteed a victory over Kentucky. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Vanderbilt, I'll say this, they're playing better football. They're playing better football. I refuse to accept the new conference formats on College Football 25. I fixed all of them. Nebraska versus Oklahoma was 1 versus 2. TriStar, I talk about it all the time. Talked about it last week that I'm happy for Nebraska, right? I'm happy that Nebraska's relevant, and I want to see if they could get – they have a chance to be undefeated when they play Ohio State. I think it's week 8, right? Vandy, Mizzou. Hey, Diego Pavia might be a problem for Missouri because they could do some similar things what Boston College did. So, they say styles makes fights, Terry. That fight right there could be a pretty good fight. But down in the swamp, Billy Napier, who's going to be fired first? Billy Napier or Mike Norvell? Because, again, I've never seen such a turnaround from 13-0, bitching about not making the playoffs. Now you're 0-3. And it's almost like the team's given up on them. But here's what's crazy. So all the talk is about DJ Lagway, right? And DJ Lagway is a good quarterback. I think he's the future of the Florida Gators, hands down. But it was another quarterback who stepped in and played exceptionally well. He played exceptionally well. Graham Mertz started, which I don't know why, but Marcel Reed, 11 of 17, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked good running the ball, 13 carries, 83 yards, 1 tutty. For me, and people talk about, I know I was saying with Quinn Ewers, you're not losing your job, right, to Arch. But I'm going to tell you this. When you're playing better, because Connor Wegman, and I talked about it at the beginning, I don't think Connor Wegman is the answer. And Missouri fans hate me because I call him Mizzou. They hate when you call him Mizzou. And they think, we got to the SEC and we played in the SEC championship a couple times. Miss Sarah, how you doing? Mert shouldn't have started. What are they even? You're 100% correct, ma'am. I mean, the whole saying is it walks like a duck, talks like a duck. It's a duck. Graham Mertz is not a damn quarterback, right? South Florida is better than Florida and Florida State. You're right. Let's not forget about the U either. Miami right now is playing really good football. But A&M by 3. Miss Sarah, Terry's saying hello. How are you? Oh, Sarah, I know you like when we talk food. At the end of the show, and I want y'all to talk and contribute, I'm doing my top 5 wing flavors. Top 5 wing flavors. Again, I've got my selection. You may not like my selection. That's fine. That's why we're here. We're here to talk. That's what the chat is for. We're going to get about. Oh, and here's what's great. So I'm trying to work it out maybe this Friday or next Reaction Monday. So my podcast now, I'm putting it out through Podbean, right? If you go on Podbean, you can do a live, and I'm trying to make sure I could do it through YouTube, but I could do a live show through Podbean and actually take phone calls. So that way, instead of typing, if you guys want to call in, like it was back when I was on the radio, let's have a live radio show. If I'm reading everything correctly, I think that's how we're going to do it. And I would love to be able to have that set up to where you guys, if you want to call in, you can contribute to the show, be a part of it, because you're the main reason that I'm doing this. Is I love talking football. I love talking sports and Sunbelt Syndicate. Yeah, I mean, it's check out Podbean. I switched over from Captiva, and it's got me to iHeartRadio. I'm kind of like the Golden Boot. I'm on iHeartRadio, Spotify. But yeah, you could do a live and have it set up to where you can take phone calls. And that's what I did for about 10, 11 years when I was in Oklahoma. I did sports talk radio. And I love taking phone calls. It was a caller-driven show. That's why I love like what's going on tonight. Everybody that's in the chat, I love it. I love it. That would be, let's see, TriStar. I've been all through Missouri a billion times. There are more Oklahoma and Nebraska fans. Yeah, because, I mean, Missouri really wasn't any good till Pinkel got there. If you look at the history of the Oklahoma-Missouri rivalry, it's not a rivalry. Sarah, I'm ready for bed too. Wings sound good. Garlic parm is my go-to. That is a fantastic choice. I promise you that one's on the list. Garlic parm is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites. There may be a way to do it here on StreamYard. I'll look into it. Yeah, I don't know if there is. But yeah, we can collaborate on that, George. Because I know the Golden Boot, you guys will get some phone calls in there too. But I'm going to check on that. We'll try to get that work going. But yeah, it's always a lot of fun. Spicy teriyaki. See, I like heat. I like heat, right? I love the heat with a little bit of sweet, like mango habanero, sweet Thai chili, stuff like that. So, yeah. This game right here, I picked it just because I was intrigued. Yes, I'm an Oklahoma guy, but I was intrigued to see how this team would respond after really not playing well against Kyle. How you doing? Hot honey rub. See, and that's a big difference right there. I don't know if Rubs are good. So we got Wingstop the other day. My wife was craving Wingstop, and we got the Wingstop because of the ranch. They had the hot honey rub, and we got the garlic parm. But I thought there would be like sauce. They're not. They're rubs, right? But they're ranch sauce. I don't know what they do with the ranch. It is the best ranch I've ever had in my life. But I like saucy wings, and I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna die on this hill, and y'all can be grown ass people, and don't call them boneless wings. It's not a boneless wing. Just own up to it. You like nuggets. There's nothing wrong with it. Eat your saucy nuggets. Okay? Eat your nuggets. Don't be embarrassed by it. Shit, when I make dino nuggies for the kids, I'm going to still crush them. I don't call them boneless pterodactyls. No, they're dino nuggies. Boneless wings aren't a thing. Eat your nuggets with whatever sauce you want on it and enjoy yourself. Don't try to church it up like Joe Dirt. Oh, they're boneless wings. No, they're not. It's a nugget of chicken. Sorry, I go on that rant. TriStar says, what's kind of funny is that through my constant references on Twitter, there are more and more clamoring for the Big Eight to come back. You know what? And Terry, I agree. I mean, I think everything should be more regional. Now, I'll be very selfish and say that I'm extremely happy to the fact that I like some boneless pterodactyl. Yeah, I'm a father, man. You know, I've got dino nuggies. But I'm gonna be a little selfish, and I'm happy that Oklahoma's in the SEC because next week I've got tickets to take my wife, my son, and myself to the Oklahoma Auburn game. It's gonna be my son's first Oklahoma game. It's gonna be my wife's second. I took her out to Bedlam a couple years ago when Kyler was still playing out there. My sister's a huge Auburn fan. It's going to be, a trip for the weekend. We're going to be down there Friday. I'm going to do a food review. You guys know I do food reviews. We're doing dinner Friday night at the Auburn Country Club. Oh, I'm going to go in like on Caddyshack. There's one for you, one for you. I'm going to have a good time. I'm having a good time at the Auburn Country Club. But this game right here, Terry Walker. Okay, have a go. I like scenarios. Hit me with your scenario, Terry. Kyle Wells says the ranch is the best. We bought like extra tubs and we're dipping everything in it. Everything, right? All right. Tell me your scenario. What if Texas and Oklahoma stayed Big 12? And are they still adding Arizona and all them, or what is it? Like this move didn't happen because, again, I always tell the story. Living in Oklahoma at the time when A&M and Missouri made the move to the Big 12, there was a lot of reports. And at that time, David Boren, the president of Oklahoma, wanted the Sooners to head out to the Pac-12. And look, the Pac-12 had, Cal, Stanford. David Boren believed that Oklahoma was more of a higher education facility than what it was. They always used to say, oh, we've got more merit scholars per capita than any school out there. Cal and Stanford wouldn't give a shit about that. You're Oklahoma. See, and added USC, Oregon, UCLA, and Washington into the Big 12. Whew, would the Big 12 be much better? It's a great question, Terry. So you're saying as it was before Oklahoma and Texas left. You still got Central Florida. You got Cincinnati. You got West Virginia. You got the typical Big 12 teams that have been there. I mean, it would be intriguing. Now, I'll tell you this much. Lincoln Riley wouldn't want that because he doesn't want any part of Oklahoma. He still thinks people were trying to break into his house and stuff. And what is making more people want it to happen was in Nebraska. Yeah, TriStar. I talked about that that game in the late 80s when McCarney and them were there, Eric Bieniemy, Fagan, those Colorado-Nebraska games were phenomenal football games. And it started like when Sal and Nusse passed away at Colorado. But then you go into Cordell Stewart, Willie McGinnis. Those games were great. I love Folsom Field. Covering Oklahoma when Colorado was still in the Big 12, I got to go to Folsom Field. It's a lot of fun. It's a great place. It's a great place. But in the Oklahoma-Tulane game, right, I think Oklahoma offense started out really good, answered a lot of questions for me. Still a lot of holes on the offensive line. There's going to be more players coming back. You're still going to be you're hoping Hickman and these guys come in, get rid of Cincy, WVU, UCF, and USF to the ACC. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I still miss the old Big East, Terry. I miss the old Big East. But that's But like TriStar says, when you're playing a college football game, you can build your conferences. I might do that. I just lost in the national championship game to Colorado. Oh, terrible. But I'm going to tell you what, Tulane, damn good football team. Damn good football team. Darian Mensah wasn't even on the two deep to start camp, got the starting job. Oklahoma covers. Defense played exceptionally well. I like what I see there. R. Mason Thomas took the game over and really did a great job, right? Now, I talk about Colorado and Colorado State. I brought this up, right? Colorado goes into Colorado State to Fort Collins. They win. They cover the spread. Doesn't hit the over, but they cover the spread. Shedeur played well. Here's what I don't like. It's a Colorado State coach's hand.
All right, keep talking about business. You can't fuck with me.
So that was the quarterback for Colorado State. Now, Colorado State, quarterback made some comments. They should put those two in a conference on their own. But let's watch this again. Shedeur talking to the cameraman. Here comes the Colorado State quarterback.
You that same talking shit on Instagram. You talking on Instagram. All right, keep talking about business. You can't fuck with me.
Here's what I don't like. To me, you bitched out and left the field early last week against Nebraska because you didn't want all that heat, because you yourself, Shedeur, were talking smack. And I'm all for trash talk, everything like that. The heat of the moment, you get it, But even then, the Colorado State quarterback, who they got beat easily, like Colorado was a far better team. He still went up to Shedeur Sanders to shake his hand, and Shedeur acted like a punk. Now, Deion, he's saying all this stuff about, I wouldn't let my kids act like that. Deion, you're letting your kids act like that. They are doing that in front of you. They're doing it. It's terrible. Oh, Vandy Chris, how you doing, buddy? With the Pac-12 beyond the 4 already, announced to go get BYU, Utah State, Hawaii, UNLV, bring back Stanford and Cal as well. Got to go all in getting Utah, Cal, and Stanford. I always bring this up, Vandy. Why is Hawaii not better at everything? Why? Because look, I get tradition at Notre Dame, tradition at Tennessee, tradition at Michigan, Ohio State. But if I'm a young man and you're going to give me 4 years paid to live on the North Shore, Mullakaliki mucka, I'm on my way. I don't understand why Hawaii's never been better at recruiting. You got to get guys that can sell that. Get some athletes there. The hell is playing in front of Touchdown Jesus because it's cold? No, I'm going to Hawaii. Preach. If you can't handle it, talk to it. That's the thing. Again, I don't mind a little trash talk. If it's like in the heat of the moment, you don't talk about people's family, this and that. All he said was like, hey, you can go get your followers and we'll see. We're going to bring our 11 guys. You bring your 11 guys. Even after the game, the Colorado State quarterback went to go shake Shedeur's hand. And that's why I said at the beginning, Van, I don't know if you heard, that this team in a 1-year calendar cycle has gone from everybody excited about them, hoping they're winning. I mean, because like think about that Colorado State game last year. I remember I was up till 1 o'clock in the morning watching that game, right? Pulling for Dion. Love it. Okay. But now you're as poor in winning as you are in losing. And you cannot convince me any other way that Shador left the field early because he didn't want to deal with Dylan Raiola. He didn't want to deal with all the people coming back at him. Go back and watch that Oregon tape last year. Shiloh Sanders talking about he was going to whip everybody on the field. You got run through. Run through. Colorado State, Air Force, Wyoming, both South Dakotas, both Montanas, BYU, Utah, we'll call it the Rocky Mountain Conference. I like it. The Rocky Mountain Conference. I not only brought back the Big 8, I also brought back the Southwest Conference with Memphis, Big East with Penn State, okay, Pac-12 with BYU, ACC with Maryland, USC, Central Florida, South Florida, the Big Ten with Notre Dame, Louisville, SEC with Georgia Tech and Florida State. And you know what? I would be completely happy if that's how it really was. I really would. I have no problem with that. But again, like I said, selfishly, with me living in Birmingham, Alabama, I'm extremely grateful that the Oklahoma Sooners are in the SEC now. Now, I always give them a 6 or pick 6. I was 4-2 the first week, hit my lock, and I'm going to apologize because I had this down, and I don't know where I saw it. I messed up. The over was 54.5. Where 39.5 came from, I don't know. So obviously, that's why I took it as a damn lock. In my head, I was like, yeah, 39.5 in the Apple Cup, let's do it. It would have hit there, but I didn't, no. I thought I didn't know enough about Marcel Reed. I thought Lagway was going to play more. He didn't. Florida +3 lost that. Lost the over in the Missouri game. Lost the over in the Colorado State game. Colorado State couldn't score to save their life. I hit the Memphis game +6.5 over Florida State, and I hit the cover, the over in the Oklahoma Tulane game. They got that done. 2-4 this week, so I'm 6-6 on the year. Really, doing well. But on Friday, I'm gonna have some more picks for you. Now I'm gonna show you this. A little NFL talk. I'm a Washington Commanders fan. Yeah, I'm a Washington fan. Have been forever. But I love Baker. Baker's playing well. How about this yesterday when Baker makes Malcolm Rodriguez look stupid? Look at him. Hits him with the leg. If the offensive lineman doesn't get in his way, Baker probably goes a little bit more. Hits him with that dead leg, and there goes Malcolm Rodriguez. I'm going to hit the brakes, and he'll fly right by. You're going to do what? Hit the brakes, he's going to fly right by. Shake and bake, baby. Again, one of those people that, when you talk about them, you love them on your team. And there you go, that wink. Love that guy. Love that guy. Now, I'm going to tell you somebody who suffered this weekend. Before we get into my top 5 wing sauces, I saw this weekend, and as somebody who's broadcast games, when it's not a good game and you're trying to figure out what to talk about, right? This popped up, and I'm glad somebody clipped it. This poor guy. And the internet is all over him.
What do we got here with the striped overalls?
Yeah, he's got a mustache. You can't see it now, but he's whipping his hand with his shirt. I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I'm going to say that guy's in the friend zone.
The friend zone. Jesse Palmer roasting this guy.
Listen.
Yeah, imagine getting roasted on national TV.
I'm just going to say, you know how to give analysis.
Years of relationship and dating.
We all know he does The Bachelor and all that stuff.
And I think I'm going to say he's a good listener.
He's a good listener.
Is in desperate need of this kind of analysis, Katie.
Don't kick a man while he's down, Jesse. Leave him alone.
No, I think he's a great guy. I didn't say he was a bad guy. I'm just saying I don't think he's dating anybody in the shot right now. I think
so. He says, I don't think he's dating anybody in the shot right now. And if you're watching and you see in the shot, there is 4 young women right there around him. And Jesse Palmer
Can't see it now, but he's whipping his hand with his shirt. I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I'm going to say that guy's in the friend zone.
He's in the friend zone. Getting roasted on national TV, man. Funny story about Marcel Reed. He was originally a Vandy commit and went to Clark Lee's alma mater, MBA High School. I didn't know he's from Nashville. He looked really good. You know who he reminded me of? And if you watched A&M football, you remember Reggie McNeil? That was a quarterback for A&M. He looks like you should do the Bachelor show just wearing those sweet bibs. I know a lot of the schools have those bibs now. I remember Nebraska was one of the first schools that I saw when they came to Oklahoma with the red and white and had the little corn things on their head and were escorted out of there rather quickly. In that game, I remember it was one of those when Bill what's his name? Callahan was struggling at Nebraska. All right, it's time. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your top 5. Miss Sarah said garlic parm is up there. I've heard people say they like the heat. Here's my top 5 wing flavors, right? My top 5. Nebraska had the wooden barrels. Yeah, so did the Broncos, the barrel man at the Broncos. You are right. Here's my top 5 wing flavors. Number 5, just the medium. I like a little heat, but I don't want to be uncomfortable. Number 4, I like Asian zing. I like that kind of that sweet, teriyaki, chili, garlicky. I love that. Number 3, mango habanero. And depending on where you go to get mango habanero, right, it's almost like a jelly, and it'll stick to your mouth and increase that burn a little bit, right? But I'm okay. I like mango habanero. That's why my favorite, I'm going to tell you right now, my favorite salsa, me and my wife, we get the Paul Newman's pineapple salsa. If we're not making it ourselves, if we're buying a jar of salsa, it's the pineapple salsa from Paul Newman's. Mango habanero, number 3. Number 2, Parmesan garlic. I told you, Sarah, I like Parmesan garlic. That's one I like, the spicy garlic. Love Parmesan garlic. My number 1, just the original buffalo. Now, here's the other question. Ranch or blue cheese? Ranch or blue cheese? Terry says garlic parm, lemon pepper. I'm not a fan of lemon pepper, and I'll tell you why. Because it's kind of like when you go to a bar to get a Long Island iced tea, nobody puts the same amount of rum in it as they do at another place. Nobody puts the same amount, they don't make it the same. Lemon pepper, sometimes it's way too much. But Terry says garlic parm, lemon pepper, Asian zing. I love Asian. Caribbean jerk is really good. That was close on my list. I really like the Caribbean jerk and hot barbecue. Yeah, good stuff. Sunbelt says ranch. I'm a blue cheese guy. I'm with Terry. I like blue cheese. I want my cheese to smell like bad meat. All right. I like stinky cheese. Gorgonzola, blue cheese. I like, give me that stuff. Vandy Chris says he likes ranch. And ranch is really good. There's not a wrong selection. Just trying to get a consensus where everybody's at. Throw that damn celery away, though. Yeah, throw it away. Who eats that crap? Ranch is for kids and their boneless nuggets. Oh, goodness. Vandy says garlic parm, sweet barbecue, lemon pepper. I can't do anything with heat. And there's a lot of people who don't like the heat. That's why, I'm never, and I used to love watching Man versus Food. I am never going to go and do one of those challenges where you try to eat, the hottest damn wing possible, where it's like, 11 million on the Scoville units, and it's like in liquid capsaicin, and no. And I've told the story before on air when I was doing radio with the former Butkus Award winner Teddy Lehman. We had a thing called the Wheel of Misfortune, and on it we had a couple different things. Again, doing radio, You make predictions. Oh, I think Oklahoma's going to do this. B-Dubs had a Captain Morgan's. Ooh. Now, I'm going to tell you, before I got into bourbon, Terry, me and the captain set sail many, many times. I mean, there for a while when I was in the Navy, me and the captain set sail quite frequently, right? Quite frequently. But when we was doing radio, we had this thing called the Wheel of Misfortune, to where if you got it wrong, if you made a bold prediction, a hot take, you got it wrong, you had to do a spin on the Wheel of Misfortune. Now, on that was things like you had to read the monologue from the Notebook. You had to do a snooter of sriracha. You had to put duct tape somewhere and rip it off. And one was eat a ghost pepper. And there was a pizza place, a local pizza place, that had a pizza called the Angry Dragon that used ghost pepper. You ever tried Captain Morgan and Mountain Dew? The cocktail was called Doing the Cap. Yeah, I had that. Now, again, one of my drinks I used to drink a lot of, E&J and Dr. Pepper. Hence diabetes, right? But yeah, whatever. I've pretty much mixed Captain with everything you can mix it with. I mean, me, like I said, me and the captain, we set sail for many, many years. But I was the first person on our show to lose. And so I had to spin on the Wheel of Misfortune. And I don't even remember what it was that I lost, but I had to take a spin on the Wheel of Misfortune. When I took the spin, it lands on a ghost pepper. And within 15 minutes of us talking about it, the owner of said pizza shop shows up with this little red ramekin that's got a ghost pepper in it. And I remember looking at it, and it was really red and angry. E&J and Coke was some of my worst. Yes, E&J and Dr. Pepper. I used to have horrible hangovers. Yeah, E&J, that's why they call it the Irk and Jerk. But I used to put the E&J in the freezer. It almost came out like syrup. Like it gets so cold in that freezer. Little E&J and Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper was man. Talk about setting sail with the captain. I used to occasionally hang out with San Miguel when I was in the Corps. Not often, as it's made of formaldehyde. Sadly, old San is mean to. You're right. I'm not I can't get into that. Can't get into that. But the old Irk and Jerk, man. But yeah, I had to eat a ghost pepper on there. They brought me milk. They did everything. And I remember my boss at the radio station at the time was like, please, just don't cuss. Don't say anything on air that, you're not supposed to. No FCC violations. And I made sure. Red Horse beer. I remember Red Horse beer. Now, I tell people this story. Vandy, if you're still listening, I know I'm going to get out of here real quick because I know you guys got to get ready to go on. When I was in the Navy, I was stationed in Jacksonville. And they used to have, you go to the commissary, the Navy Exchange, and we could buy the Colt 45 double deuces, the 22-ounce bottles, for 50 cents. Double deuce, Colt 45, the Filipino version, not the one from Oregon. Yes. Used to have that on military installations. But Colt 45 double deuces for 50 cents. Man, we used to go to the exchange. We'd go to the Navy Exchange, spend $3, get a 6-pack of those double deuce Colt 45s. We'd be good to head to the club on base because the club, when I was at NAS Jacks, Bud Ice Deuce. Yep, they have Bud Ice. Now, here's what was crazy. And because we were just, trying to save money, you did the Milwaukee's Best, all that. Oh my God. Oh, Terry. Oh, so you bring up OE, Terry. Now, before I went to boot camp, I laugh now as a 48-year-old father of 4, but I'm an old hip hop head, man. I was into, I loved Biggie, Pac, all that stuff. Still reserved 2-on-1. How about some Mad Dog 2020? Some Cisco. But before I went away to boot camp, one of my friends said, "What do you want for your going away party?" I said, "I want a refrigerator to look like the Dre Day video where you open it up and it was OE40s top to bottom." They made it happen. I'm 41, not far behind you. But my friend made it happen. I show up to my going away party before I go to boot camp, and I opened that refrigerator, and it looked just like the Dre Day video. It was top to bottom Old English bottles. Like they had removed all the food, the racks. I don't know where they had to go around to get them all, but and it was the glass bottles, not the plastic ones. Like every now and then you can find one. It was the glass OE bottles, that Old English charcoal filtered malt liquor. Red Dog, Red Wolf, King. Oh God, I remember King Cobra, Mickey's Big Mouth. I used to drink a lot of the Mickey's Big Mouth. A lot. What about Crazy Horse and Night Train? Oof. I remember when Seagram's would make. They started making the pre-bottled gin and juice, and it was horrible. I'm not a gin person. I'm not big into martinis. I'll stick to my sweet nectar of bourbon. But I do remember Red Dog. I do remember Tim Hall. Honey barbecue. Hey, honey barbecue is really good. Medium and buffalo. Somewhere. Some places you go, Tim. You know, some places. Again, original buffalo sauce has a little more heat to it. And I think that's why they came up with medium. And you might be right. I'm not a sauceologist, but I think for me, there's a little bit of difference. And I like heat, but I'm not going to go get, a dozen scorching wings and sit there and eat them. Now, here's the other question. We're talking about wings. Are you a flat or a drum person? Flat or drums? Original buffalo is more of a zing or spice than medium. I agree with that, Terry. Are you a flat or a drum guy or woman? I know Sarah was listening. I like the flats. Dip them, push it out, get the whole. I like the flats. That's what I'm a big fan of. And I'm going to tell you, if you're in the South, who's got some wings that you don't sleep on, is Publix. Publix wings are banging. You can they call them the Mardi Gras wings, kind of a Cajun seasoning. Ooh, they're really, really good. How many times have you done the Blazing Challenge? Twice. You're up to 4? Okay. I've done it twice. And I don't mind it. Like I said, I like hot. Like there was a burger place in Oklahoma they used to have, they call it the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and it had, ghost pepper, Scotch bonnets, habaneros. So both. Anyone picking flat or drums is picky. A real wing connoisseur enjoys both and doesn't pick a side. You know what? Hey, I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that, Tim. That is a fantastic point. They have a different sauce now. I'm listening. Any kind of sauce will be really good sauce, right? Yeah. They got the desert heat. It's a ghost pepper sauce now for blazing. I'll tell you that ghost, man. Also, the best wings I ever had was coconut curry wing. You hear a lot of people talk about chicken tikka masala and the curry with the coconut milk and stuff. That sounds really good, Tim. I like that. That sounds really, really good. That's and I like to cook some stuff, man. Make like some Thai coconut soup. But that sounds. I need to look that up because I know with the Oklahoma Tennessee game coming up Saturday, I was talking to my wife. My wife is off work. It's a primetime game at 6:30. What are we gonna make? And I've got a smoker. I can smoke some wings, toss them. But that coconut curry sauce sounds really, really good. And I may have to look into that. Now, ghost pepper sauce, I don't know. Like I said, getting up there in age, I don't know if I can handle those heat challenges anymore. I plan on visiting my buddy in Buffalo next summer to see the. You know what? That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Terry, I'm going to tell you, go back and look on my socials for when me and my wife were in London in August, right? We went to London in August for our anniversary. I went to the Borough Market and had a sandwich and go across a giant lake to get some Molson. Yeah, you got to get some Molson or some Labatt Blue, you hoser. But there was a sandwich at the Black Pig, and it was a if Cody's still here, we know LSU fans can't handle heat, so he likes. Ooh, shots fired at Cody. Now I'll say I've got to meet Cody because we actually live really close to each other, so it was really cool. We got to sit down, break bread together, kind of talk about some things, and really good dude. Love Cody. He always lets me kind of bend his ear about some things, but stay tuned because coming up here in about 20 minutes, man, the Golden Boot's going to be live. And George, Chris, Cody, those guys, they put on a great show. They've had some great interviews. Go back and watch the interview with Coach Cooper from Long Island University, talking about everything like from when he was at LSU, how the Honey Badger got his name. I mean, there's a lot of really good stuff, but George and them do a great job. Ranch, blue cheese, or no dip. I'm a blue cheese guy. Like I said, Tim, I like blue cheese. I like gorgonzola. I like stinky. I like stinky cheese. Cody likes honey ketchup because oh, shots fired, Terry. Shots fired. I know. No, not when I get the blue cheese, I'm the only one that gets it myself. So I always like it. Now, you talk about ketchup, Terry. I'll tell you the ketchup I've been using because I always loved it. Again, being from Oklahoma, Whataburger was my place, and a spicy ketchup. They now sell the bottles of the spicy ketchup. My whole family loves it. I'll make, the miniature corn dogs for the kids, spicy ketchup. Cody thinks ranch is spicy. Whoo, Cody, they're tearing you up, brother. They're tearing you up. It's our game week, so we're going at it. Yeah. It's that'll be a very intriguing game. And like I said, but guys, it has been an absolute blast talking with you guys tonight. I love talking football. I love talking food. I made a meatloaf with spicy ketchup. Oh yeah. Freaking meatloaf, man. Those people who don't like meatloaf, what's wrong with you? Because here's what's even better. You know what's better than meatloaf? The next day when you can have a meatloaf sandwich. Meatloaf sandwich. And that's what I always told my wife. It's one of the things that all of our kids will eat. When she makes a meatloaf, I'm loving it because there's that extra bit for the sandwiches. All right. I love the meatloaf sandwich afterwards, but yeah, I need to tell her that. I've done a bacon wrapped smoked meatloaf that was really, really good. Really, really good. I can't say it on this family show. What is better? And again, Terry, I'll drink to that, sir. Because I agree with you 100%. I know where you're going. I'm picking up what you're putting down. But good stuff, man. Guys, this was a great show tonight. Thank you to everybody. And letting it be known, I'm going to start a Patreon. And, in that chasing this dream, trying to get back into being an active sports media person after covering, college football and recruiting and the NBA when I was out in Oklahoma for the better part of a decade. And really trying to do this, through the help of guys like Cody and George and Vandy, Chris, and everybody at the College Football Dogs, Colin Hunter, Dominic, those guys at the Sun Belt Syndicate, to be back into where I'm having interviews with Trent Dilfer. I've got to interview Kalen DeBoer. I'm going to be credentialed for the rest of the Alabama season. After the Georgia game, because I'm going to be in Oklahoma, Auburn. I'm going to go see my guys play with my kid and my wife. But getting back into it and to have some relevance again, and that's why I say, guys, if you like college football and you're trying to get away from like corporate sports talk to where you're kind of directed on what to talk about. I mean, for those that were here, you saw what we did for the last 25 minutes. We're talking about, different alcohols we like, what kind of foods we like, and that's what I want my show to be. Very organic, very, down to earth. I tell everybody I want my show to be like everybody sitting at the barbershop talking, you know. Also tell Cody, take that L for Rudy against ASU. I couldn't. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what, Tim, ASU pretty damn good. And how do you say that? Is it Scatibo? When I see him run the ball, I picture Stone Cold Steve Austin in The Longest Yard. He said, "That's how a white man runs the ball." That's because he runs hard. And I think maybe Arizona State is a lot better than the people are giving him. Ooh, stuffed cheese. So, like, Terry, are you talking about like Juicy Lucy's? Because I love a Juicy Lucy, and I've done one. I call it the black and blue with like a coffee rub, and I'll put blue cheese in the middle, and I take bacon and I wrap it around the side. And now you're talking. I've got some idea. I'm a big boy. I love food. I'm never going to. Nah, we still suck. Just getting lucky sometimes. Hey, Mike Ditka said it. Sometimes you got to take luck over skill, right? Sometimes you got to take that luck over skill. Well, I've had 20 something idea. Hey, I'm all here for it. I'm all here. Scott to Boo and Bo. Look, I'll call him whatever the hell he wants to call because the boy can tote the rock. I'm writing them on a Word doc. Man, I tell you what, if you want to share them, follow me on any socials or anything like that. I'll shoot you my email address. I'll do a graphic and stuff like that. We can pop it up on here and talk on the show and stuff like that. We'll break it down, man. I got to talk with some local beer places at the first UAB game. They were there for the tailgates. Cahaba Brewing Company. They've got a really good blonde ale. That's really good. They got a sour. That's really good. So really love that. But inbox me if you can. Yep, I'll shoot you a message, Terry. I'm anything to collab about food. I'm in 100%. But I'm gonna do a Patreon because I've been doing my conference bite shows. Right, that is 30-minute shows where I focus on each conference. My show is called Sports Bites. What's my team? I am an Oklahoma Sooner, Tim. I am an Oklahoma Sooner. An Oklahoma Sooner and a Washington Commander fan. So, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like so, we got Tennessee this weekend. Hawaiian burger. I like Hawaiian burgers on a sweet roll, nice brioche, toasted pineapple, little teriyaki bacon, something like that. Yeah, I mean you're talking my love language, Terry. But with the Patreon, what I'm doing, and again, just trying to monetize what I'm doing, chasing my dream, and there's going to be 2 levels. I'm going to do a Patreon for $5 a month. You will have access to the conference bite shows. And I'm going to have reporters on from 247 Network, stuff like that, talking about the biggest games, kind of some exclusive stuff, excuse me, on that realm. For the $10 Patreon, I'm going to have, you'll have access to the shows. I'm also going to have a community chat to where we can talk about, like with Terry, you want to talk about food, talk about ball, it's community chat. It's going to be open. And plus when I have specific interviews with coaches, players, stuff like that, I'm going to put that on there. So stay aware, pay attention. I would love your support. I would love your help kind of getting this thing going. It's all good. ASU, Ohio State, and Cardinals fans, so I know the misery. Ohio State makes it easier. You're a Cardinal fan. My boy Kyler looked good for you. Finally found Marvin Harrison Jr. yesterday. And, Kyler's such an intriguing athlete. I watched him in high school play at Allen, Texas, and he went to A&M. And, of course, when he came to Oklahoma, a 5-tool baseball player. I think if I'm correct, the only athlete to be drafted first round in the Major League draft and the NFL draft. So, I mean, kudos to him. But, yeah, he had himself a ball game yesterday. And I'll say that as an Oklahoma guy and a Washington fan, thank you to Austin Seibert, the former kicker from Oklahoma. Washington kicker missed 3 field goals opening week. They cut him. They signed Austin Seibert. He comes out yesterday. What does he do? Kicks 7 damn field goals. Washington wins 21-18. I'll take it. That's going to be your NFC Special Teams Player of the Week right there is Austin Seibert. But again, guys, thank you. I've enjoyed the interaction. I love the engagement. We're going to keep this churning. We're going to keep it going. Be sure you come by on Friday night. I'm going to have football Friday night where I'm going to break down everything, looking ahead to the big games coming up. I'm going to break down the Oklahoma-Tennessee game. I got a guy from the Vols Report that's going to come on and talk about Tennessee. And like I said, got some really good stuff coming up. Card fans are the worst, almost as bad as wrestling fans. They wanted Kyler gone last year, called overrated, and a bad pick last week. We wanted to trade Baker last week. Now they all balled out, and those fans look dumb. I got you, brother. I got you, Terry. I'll shoot you an inbox, man. I see you that you're on Facebook, so we'll follow there. But also sounds you're an SEC guy. But my God, does UGA look overrated? I'm only a new SEC guy, right? I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm only a new SEC guy. I've been a Big 8 guy, Big 12 guy. Now I'm in SEC because that's where Oklahoma is. But yeah, I said that earlier. I think Georgia does look over. I don't see the explosiveness. I don't see the dominance by the defense. Malachi Starks is really good. I don't see this Joe Moore award-winning offensive line that everybody was talking about. Etienne can run the football well, but there's also some cultural issues there. All right. As long as you don't root for your rivals and I've never done that, Tim. That's one thing I said, coming into the conference, Oklahoma's never been, go Big 12. I hope Texas wins. Nah, fuck that. Texas, you can lose every game. I don't care. Lose every game. The SEC are the worst. Like how you cheer on a whole ass conference and not a team. I agree. But you know what they'll say, Tim? It just means more. That's what they say. It just means more. But, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to get out of here. I got to get my kid to bed. Stay tuned. The Golden Boot podcast is coming up at 8:30 on I want Texas to run the SEC. I don't. I hate Texas. Screw the USC Trojans. Yeah. The men of Troy. Ugh. I don't like them. I don't like Lincoln Riley. Zachariah Branch is really good. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I appreciate all the engagement. You guys have a great night. It says it just means more. Plays less conference game than the other. It's a valid point. But also, and I know a lot of it's from preseason voting, 6 of the top 7, first time in the history of the poll from one conference. And I think Oklahoma plays 5 of them. It's terrible. Guys, this is going to do it for me. I hope you have a great Monday night. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the Golden Boot podcast coming up at 8:30. Follow College Football Dogs. Follow me on all my social medias. Follow me and subscribe on Patreon. I'm going to put out a lot of great content. I hope you guys follow, help support this dream. And I thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great evening. Make sure I got my my outro keyed up. But I thank you. You guys have a great night. Maybe you'll see me talking in the Boots chat as well. But check out the Golden Boot coming up at 8:30. And remember, guys, to always positively move forward.
Thanks for joining us on this delicious journey through the world of sports and food on Sports Bites with your host, Chris Joseph. We hope you've enjoyed the Game Day news stories, and culinary adventures. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you've got any mouth-watering sports-related tales or favorite game day recipes, share them with us on social media. Until next time, remember, it's not just about the game. It's about the bites that make it unforgettable. Stay hungry for more Sports Bites.